Hello, everybody, or Pura Vida, and welcome to Choice, Change, and Action podcast. You're with me, your host, and I also have one of my regular guests and a very good friend and colleague, Dr. David Kubes. So, welcome, David.
Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for the invitation again.
You're welcome. So, I did say Pura Vida because I'm still in Costa Rica. I'm still at El Lugar. I leave here in a few hours. It is not the easiest place to leave. It's very interesting. Um, I'm really happy about going home, like going to Australia, and we have classes in Australia, and then I have 3 months in Europe, and all of that is just. I'm so honored and so grateful that I get to do that. And wow, El Lugar is a really hard place to leave. I just went on a final ride this morning, and a friend of ours said, "Hey, can I come riding with you?" And I said, "No." I want to go riding on my own. I said I just need to ride and just be with my horse. I mean, I think I was being very say una ragazza, a girl, but I had these tears, and it was so funny. She's just like, well, okay, whatever. And anyway, it's been so beautiful being here. I've been here for almost a month, and I do come back to South America in September, October, doing a business done different class in Peru and a choice for possibilities in Ecuador. So I don't think you knew that.
Wow.
Maybe you should come. So anyway, we've got lots of travel, 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 and that is what we're here to talk about today. David
Yes.
is God, I don't know how long I've known you for quite some time, and you have contributed to me a lot in the art of travel. You know what, I remember very distinctly you and I being in Frankfurt Airport. We were at VIP, which you introduced me to, and VIP is a whole topic that I'm sure you're going to go into in your art of travel, of what you can get in different places that you can, that has this available. Some it's ridiculously overpriced, and some it's really good and amazing. And we were at Frankfurt VIP. So the idea is you get, they either meet you on the plane, and take you down the side steps, and you jump into a car, which is what Frankfurt does, or they meet you just as you're coming off. And there's variations, and there's a beautiful place that you can be in. Like, you can have a private room, you can even have a bath, like in in these private rooms, or you know. But when we were leaving, you got so excited about these planes. I'll never forget it because you're like, Simone, look at these planes. And you're like, look how beautiful this is. And you were describing one of the planes to me. And I've got to say, I started looking at planes a little bit through your eyes, the way you see them, because you don't just go, oh, this is getting me from A to B. You see this beauty and you see this elegance of a lot of the planes, and then the ones that have not been created for that. So let me first ask you, do you have a distinct moment where you sort of, I guess, stepped into the love and the art of travel?
Yes, it was actually as a child. I had two aunts that emigrated to the United States during World War II. And once a year they came to visit. And I remember I was 5 years old, and we went to the airport to pick them up. And I could hear these announcements, tow away zone, just this drop off zone when you go to the airport. And back then it was a very small airport, and I saw all these people, and I saw this big screen with all the destinations of where people are flying. I was so fascinated, and from that moment on, the airport became my favorite place to be. I always wanted to go like 3 hours before, so I can go and watch the planes and watch the people and check the departure schedule where all these planes are going. Uh, it was just fascinating from that moment.
What did you
Um,
find so fascinating?
because I started looking at these people and wonder, why would someone go to Beirut? Why is this person traveling to
Yeah.
Beijing? How come this person is traveling to Sao Paulo? Um, it was just wow, and the fact that you can travel so far in such a short time, and then the time change, the time difference, and it was just fascinating to how they look and why they go there, and it was fascinating to me. And from that moment on, I wanted to work at an airport or for an airline. I wanted to become, a person who works in the tower of an airport,
Mhm.
because I just couldn't believe how they managed that so many planes can fly and don't crash. I wanted to find
You know,
out how
that always astounds me. I mean, there's a level of organization that is required, you know, in all companies and all businesses to an extent, and I think people take that organization into something that creates structures and order, and maybe that's not a good idea, but I prefer chaos, but wow, planes, airports, like
yeah.
and not just the airports, it's like in the sky, and it's like I often think about that, I'm like, "There's so many planes, like, leaving and landing in every airport," and the coordination of that would be off the charts.
It is, and it was fascinating from the very beginning. And of course, then when I finished high school and started studying, I got the job at Vienna Airport as a student and started working for Austrian Airlines. And this is where I actually learned all the logistics over 6 years, um, and it was just fascinating how it all works out and what's the difference. And um, there are so many simple reasons for why this and why that and how it all
Mm,
came together. We take it all for granted,
mm.
but there are some extraordinary inventions that came through, and people were working years trying to figure something out, and then you just can't take it for granted. It's just too
So
too
what would
special
be
not pay attention.
without going into the history of aviation, what would be 1 or 2 things that you think that people take for granted that we should have a look at and appreciate and be grateful for?
Just the fact that the cabin of the plane is under pressure, that we
Mm,
don't see that we can fly that high, and you don't sense that you are 10,000 meters in the sky. Um, that is a revolutionary technique. Um, that is something so special, and how that works and how it's all um the materials they use, the weight that needs to lift off, the fact that this extremely heavy thing can fly and you as a passenger don't even notice it. I mean, this is just this is such a beyond for me, and everybody just takes it for granted.
I know, I was gonna say, everyone takes it for granted and bitches and moans about what's not happening rather than like, have you taken a moment to notice that you're way up in the sky and they're serving you drinks or cocktails and food, et cetera, and that whole everything, and you're about to land somewhere else, like you said, in a different time zone, perhaps with a different language, etc. And it's like, wow, how did we get so lucky? Like my mother, her family, when she was 18, it was just at the end of World War II, and they were offering. She was from Scotland, and they were offering anyone from Britain that you could come out to Australia because we were trying to get more immigrants for £10 per person. And if you came out for £10, you paid. That's what you paid. I love this. If you went back within 6 months, you had to pay the full fare. So basically they were like, "Stay there 6 months and hopefully you'll like it." And if you stayed longer than 6 months, then it was only ever £10. You could still go back after 6 months, but they wanted you to at least stay there for 6 months. They were trying to get people to, to migrate there. And but that was by boat. Like, can you imagine traveling from Britain to Australia by boat?
Was
That would
it
have
3
taken
months?
I don't actually, I don't know, but that would have taken a really long time, like
Yes,
and
yes.
what we have on planes now is incredible. So, what's your favorite plane and why?
The 747-800.
Why?
It's because it has a first floor and it has elegance, because only the front part of the plane has a second floor. So it has this beautiful shape of a bird, of a swan. And it's fascinating because the upper deck is smaller. You have way more space. You can be so creative with the interior design. The A380 is also a double decker, but it's two full decks, and it sounds like I don't know, just very not very elegant, very functional. But the 747 was designed to have a party area, a lounge room on the upper deck. It was never designed for seating there. Travel in the 1960s was so luxury that they literally designed it to have a lounge room, a bar where people can sit and hang out and chat and enjoy these extreme long haul flights. And it still has that sense of luxury, because
Yeah.
of its shape, you cannot use every spot of the plane for seats. So they have the little bar areas, and they have the little. It's just way more of what travel truly is for me. It's this gift of being able to travel in luxury and in style in the
Mm.
747 800. Wow, beautiful spots inside the
Mm.
plane. I mean, I took you for a walk. Remember when we when we flew to Buenos Aires?
Yeah.
It's just fascinating.
I think that was, I'll tell you, you might know this story, but I mean, we're on a podcast, so not everyone on the podcast knows this story. Is years ago, I was flying back from South Africa, from Joburg, and when they used to have Joburg direct to Brisbane, and I think that's the 747 I was on. It was with Qantas, and so you had like that upper deck was part of business class, but it was known as, I guess, like the more elegant, like if you had an upper business class,
Yes.
that was where you booked because there was nobody else up there. You had, your own steward, etc., for the plane, or if not two. And whereas downstairs it was business and then economy, etc. So it was all sort of mingled into one. But anyway, I get this because I have my favorite seats, which I want to get to that. I want to give people how to book favorite seats because that's one of my favorite things to do, and I have my favorite seats. And I booked my favorite seat upstairs. It was, in the window, but on the exit row, you have a ridiculous amount of room in front of you if you have that seat. You can literally get your bag out, like which I would, and fossil through and explode everywhere. Like there just felt like a lot of space. So I'm up there, and as I'm checking in, the guy says to me, I don't know how you made it up there, but okay. And I was up there and I was like, that's a really weird thing to say because I travel in that seat all the time. And I get on the plane and I'm like settling in and doing all this. And all of a sudden, the whole plane at the top is filling up with the All Blacks from New Zealand, the football team. The entire up the top is all Blacks, right? And if you don't know what All Blacks is, you need to Google it, okay? They are some of the sexiest, biggest men in the world, right? And there's me up there. It was so funny. And I was like, wow. And I'm like, I'm sitting here with all of these men, and so that's why he was like, I don't know how you ended up with that seat up there, but you did. So throughout the flight, I was like, you have that moment that you go, man, a lot of people would love it if I just took photos or videos or something like that. But I didn't do anything. I just, I introduced myself to the guy next to me. He'd hurt his knee, so he had his legs stretched out. And then there was, they're so big that they were getting changed in just outside near their seat in the aisleway, but they were like, "I'm really sorry, ma'am. The bathroom's so small, we can't get changed in there." So they were getting like changed in like, nicely, like, but like in front of me and everything as well. And they were so polite and they were so awesome. So that was like I think it's a 12 or 13-hour flight that I was at the top with them. So it was very funny. Just a moment for me, like no videos, no photographs, nothing. Just like here I am with the All Blacks upstairs. So, but I do remember those planes. And I will say as a traveler, because I see the way you see the beauty of the plane, and I'm really grateful when I travel with you a lot and you do show me things on planes and make me go for a walk. Once you made me go for a walk in our first class pajamas with our glass of champagne, throughout the entire plane, like down to economy and everything. And I was like, David, like you were like stopping and giving me these descriptions. But I will say my favorite plane as a traveler, and only because I've been traveling more first class in the past few years, is an A380. And it's an
Yes.
A380. And to be honest, Qantas and Emirates is the two that I would fly the most with that. Emirates is amazing. I love the food on demand and caviar and champagne and the fact that you get to close your door so you can, you have a little privacy. Qantas is bigger, like the actual suite is a bigger area, better bed, I think, like it's got a much thicker mattress, etc. But you don't get to close your door, although there's not really that many people in first class, and they never let anyone walk in there anyway. So I'm sort of like, I like both. I cannot choose between both. So yeah. And as a traveler, do you have a preference?
Well, The A380 is the most comfortable plane because it is so huge and
Mm.
so heavy that you literally don't sense that you're flying. You have the least turbulences, you don't sense anything, you have the best sleep. I mean, of course, it also starts shaking in heavy turbulences, but it's the most turbulence resistant plane because it is so heavy and so huge, 4 engines. And of course, if first class is on the upper deck, you have this massive bathroom with a shower.
Oh, yeah, that's
That's
right. Actually,
that's
no, maybe
that
Emirates
is
is my favorite.
yeah, that is, of course, amazing. Yeah, it's as I said, it's very functional and very comfortable, but it doesn't have ah, this
Yeah.
that little thing of elegance, of true elegance, of extraordinary. Um, I miss it a little bit, but from the comfort, it's one of the best planes.
Mm. I met a pilot recently, a Qantas pilot actually, and I was sitting next to him. It was one of my I was so delusional, like, by the time you're on your 3rd flight coming home, but he really cool guy. I started chatting to him, and he flies A380s, but he said that's not his favorite plane to fly. His favorite plane to fly is a 747 because he literally has to have more engagement in flying it, and
Yes.
that yeah, that's his favorite. So it's interesting that it's like, anyone who knows anything about planes probably prefers that. So let's talk about one of my favorite tools is how do you find a great seat on a plane?
Well, first of all, go try it out.
Yeah.
I I literally I do a lot of research, and there is an application, Seat Guru, where
Mm,
people can actually leave comments where you have all the seat maps of all airlines. Recently, they are not updating the seat maps as frequently as they did before, and a lot of companies changed, especially the business class recently. This is the class that changes the most and has the most changes at the moment. Um, and you can literally see, because not every seat is the same. In business class, sometimes you're missing a window. I would not like that. If you're sitting too close to the toilet, you hear the noise. Um, what I like is, even in business class, when you have emergency exit row, you have more space. But also, a lot of business class seats are now, you have to move under the seat in front of you, and
mm,
then they have this move the seats aside. In a lot of business class, you have to book the bulkhead, which is first row after the wall, after the galley, because there the area for your foot is real big. If you have to
mm,
put your foot under the seat in front of you, and you have a size 44 like I do, you literally always hit with your
mm.
feet somewhere, and it's not comfortable to sleep. And that makes a big difference. So I highly recommend to check out the Seat Guru, because people can leave comments on every seat, and then really check it out. Not every seat is the same.
No, I that's my Bible. I use seatguru.com all the time and put it in there. I mean, I'm about to fly American Airlines. My flight that I'm doing tomorrow, which by the time you listen to this podcast, everyone I would be home, safe and sound, hopefully, and happy, is oh, well, on the way here, I got to Brisbane Airport and they said, "Ma'am, your flight to Dallas is cancelled." I was like, okay. So then it started this like, all these different flights that I had to do and where I had to go through and anyway, things like that occur. But this time I'm off to San Jose, Dallas, and then I've got Dallas, Brisbane, which is 17 hours
Wow.
on a
Is it
747.
the Dreamliner,
Yeah,
American
yeah,
Airlines?
yeah.
So
And I'm
what
in
what
three
seat
A,
have you chosen?
3A.
3A.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
that's
think it's yeah. So I think it's good. I've never flown American, so
yeah, they have a really good business class. They're very good.
okay. There we go. So I'm looking forward to it. So not everybody flies business class and first class. I never flew business and first class for a long time. Either did you, David. So do you have any tips, etc., when you are flying economy, premium economy?
Well, for example, what I always did when I was flying economy, first of all, you can find out whether a flight is fully booked. There's a little trick you can do. You call the airline, you say if you work for a different airline, you want to get on this plane as a standby. How is the load? And then they will tell you.
Oh, I love that.
So if you, for example, fly on Qantas economy from Dallas to Brisbane, you call them and say, hey, I'm a colleague from wherever you are, Lufthansa or Iberia. I want to
Yeah,
try it on standby. How is it looking? They'll let you know.
yeah,
And if the flight is not full, I mean, what I prefer, if you get 3 seats in
mm,
economy, you can lift up the armrest and then sleep. Yeah, but you have
yeah,
to be very careful because there's some rows where the armrest is fixed. First row, bulkhead row, armrest doesn't move. And in the back of the plane, when the plane gets smaller, when it changes from 343 to 333, the first row after that is also fixed armrests. Um, so if you manage to go on a plane that is not fully booked, the sleeping experience, if you have 4 seats or 3 seats in a row, you put up the head, the armrest, and you put the pillows in between, you can sleep exactly as in business class.
mm,
In premium economy, that doesn't work because they have seats where you can't put the armrest up. So if you
right.
are on a not fully plane, it's even more comfortable to sleep in a row in economy than paying an upgrade to premium economy.
And
That's
I'm
my
gonna
that's my
yeah,
take.
and thank you. And I'm gonna say too, the next plane you're on, don't just like wherever you're sitting, walk around. Take a walk
Mhm.
around and see what you would prefer. Even if it's like, hey, I would prefer to be, in business class or premium economy, etc. Because if you are traveling economy and you think you can only ever travel economy, which I did, I remember when I was struggling to get like an economy ticket from Brisbane to LA. Like I was, it was like, wow, how am I ever going to make this money? But I did. And now I would travel first or business class. So check it out. Like aim higher than what you're currently choosing because it's your choice. You choose it and you got to take some action in order to actualize that showing up in your life. Right. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's not. Sometimes you can be upgraded for free. I mean, airlines overbook their flights. So if an economy plane has 200 seats, you can guarantee that they book 250 tickets. Today, when I was traveling to Sofia in the Hon Circle Lounge, I met a colleague from 30 years ago. We started at the same day, 30 years ago, as interns at Austrian Airlines. And I
Wow.
asked her, are they still overbooking? Like, she said, yes, because
Wow.
people just don't show up. If you have like
Yeah.
300 people booking a flight, 10% don't show up. But sometimes they do, and then they need to upgrade people to business class. And it's
Yeah.
not automated that it's only the status customers. People still engage. So dress well and ask, hey, is the flight overbooked? You can either volunteer and they pay you $600 and you go on the next flight, or you can ask, well, is there any chance for an upgrade?
Mm.
Sometimes they say, yeah, they for $200 you get an upgrade. KLM does that. They don't upgrade people for free when they are overbooked. They put the upgrades on the market. And I remember one of my secretaries was once flying to Panama on her vacation, and she asked, and they offered her for €300 an upgrade
Mm.
to business class, which normally the price difference is a few thousand euros. So always ask and engage. It's still people working there. And sometimes you can actually help them. Oh my God, a nice person, nicely dressed. Um, let's upgrade them to business class because I don't want any business class passengers to sit next to a redneck going, oh my God, I got this for free. Let's order champagne. Um, so you sometimes can even help staff at working at the
Yeah.
airport when you present yourself nicely dressed. Excuse me, is there any way to get an upgrade? So
Yeah, I've done that before too, and every airline is different. I wanna make sure you guys all know that because there are some airlines that do it and some that don't. Some that do it even like Emirates will do it, you're on the plane, and
yes,
if you see the guy in charge and they've got a vacancy, you can use points or you can pay for an upgrade. Like, they will do it even as you're getting on the plane. Qantas is not so easy like that. I know Canada Air, I think, is really good. They will upgrade you right at the counter when you're doing this. And I just want to tell you a short story. Is a friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, Christopher Hughes. This was years ago. He was traveling in economy somewhere, and he had this beautiful cognac diamond ring on. And the woman was checking him in, and she could see his ring in his hand. He was dressed, nice. He was dressed beautiful.
Mhm.
And she said, "Sir, and she's commented on his ring, and he started talking about it. And she said, "So you're an economy. You can't travel in economy wearing a ring like that." And literally upgraded him to business class. I was like, "That's great." So there is so many possibilities. It's not doesn't have to be, rigid and structured. But ask and engage with the person. Like,
Yes,
that person
absolutely.
who's checking you in, I always have a conversation, or I check in and see where they're at, like read the room. And, one of the tools I would use too is pulling energy from them. So you pull energy from them to you, so they're more present with you as well. And even asking the question, I have asked the question so many times if something is not up, of like, oh, what else is possible with this? And then pause. Because if you ask what else is possible with this, or how does it get any better than this, and you pause, you don't keep talking, you've literally asked them a question to try and create a different scenario for you.
And please always, there are so many technical possibilities. For one example, I always ask, even when I travel business class in Lufthansa or with the old planes on Brussels Airlines, they still have the 222 seats, and I don't want someone sitting next to me, not even in business class. So when
Mm.
I go there, I said, "Is business class full?" And they say no. I said, "So could you block the seat next to me?" They can literally, with one button on their computer, block the seat. And then it's just blocked. Nobody can assign that
Mm.
seat to anyone. You can do that in economy as well. If the flight is not full, and people, if you're kind and nice to them, why would they not do you a favor? Everybody who works for an airline is a freak, a geek. They love that. And if you
Yeah.
I worked
Yeah.
there for 6 years.
And
They're
if
all
someone's
crazy.
asking you the question, you can fulfill it, you will. Yeah. Hey, another thing that I would do too, is quite often, I don't care what I'm traveling, if it's first or business or etc. I will buy, like when I'm leaving Australia, I'll buy Tim Tams, which is a very Australian biscuit, or some chocolates or something like that, and I give it to the purser, who is the person who is in charge of the plane, or I give it to, because you'll figure it out within a few minutes who's actually going to be looking after you for your whole flight. And
Yes.
you figure that out, like it's one or
Right.
two people, and then I will give it to them and say, hey, this is for you and everybody else. And it's just, sometimes it's created, like I remember I had a friend in economy when I was in business, and they knew that. And what they did was they went, "Does your friend want a glass of champagne, like nice champagne? Does your friend want some pajamas?" And I was like, "Sure." So then I was able to take pajamas down to my friend and give them a nice glass of champagne. But if you don't have the expectation, it's literally just this honoring of somebody who's looking after you for your whole entire flight. And for me, that engagement and that honoring just creates more joy in my world as well. And you never know what might occur.
Yeah.
I want to give a tip too from a friend of ours, Sarah Watt. This cracked me up so much when one day she travels as much as she can in business and premium economy, etc. But sometimes leaving from Australia, she gets on an economy seat, and it's a long haul, like literally a long haul flight. So I love the way she goes, okay, here's what I do. I get on the plane, and I immediately I get changed into, like something really comfortable, like tracksuit pants, warm, maybe like a hoodie, etc. And she has her eye mask, and her, socks and slippers. So she's really warm and cozy. And then she gets in, position, etc. Maybe eat something, watch a movie, whatever. And then, but when she has the hoodie, she puts it over her head and does her, her eye mask, etc. And then tries to sleep, right? And then she said, as soon as she smells breakfast, she gets up straight away and she goes and gets changed, because if you wait till after breakfast when you're landing, those bathrooms will take so long. And I'm like, I love you. I love the way she does that. It's like, I can smell breakfast. Okay, I'm up, I'm changed. So we know that that job is done. Tick. now I can have breakfast and start to wake up, and I'm not queuing for the bathroom forever or taking ages in there. And I'm like, it's there's so many little tricks like of what you can do to make your travel easier. And it's not just on planes either. So I do want to mention we will have this in the if you subscribe to the notes, etc., and we'll have the details of this. I invited David on here to do this because, like I said, he has helped me like so much, and I've become really aware of booking travel and what to do, etc. Like, gosh, even from I remember a few times now we've booked out the whole first class on a train, which doesn't cost that much, so that we're just there with our friends and you don't have some random stranger in there. And we've done things like that, and it's you think, oh my god, booking out the whole first class, that must be so expensive. It's actually
Oh,
not. It's cheaper than a flight, you know. So, and in Europe, in trains is quite beautiful, amazing. You get some work done. They're serving you a meal, etc. So there's lots of different ways that we can you know David can talk to you. So he does have a membership, and it's ridiculously cheap. It's you pay per month. There's a Telegram thread. You can go to drdavidkubes.com/travel. Okay. So, and like I said, we will put the link in the show notes, etc. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend it, even if you don't travel that much, because it may enthuse you to travel. Because, like I said, the stories that David has is incredible. I want you to tell where you are now, why are you there, and what deal did you get, and where are you going. This is just as an
well,
example. This is not set
as
up.
an example, yeah, I'm in Sofia, Bulgaria, just for one night, and tomorrow I'm flying from Sofia to Hong Kong. I'm facilitating classes in Hong Kong, and leaving from Vienna in first class on Swiss Air would be 12,000 euro, starting the trip in Vienna. I have an amazing travel agent. Europe is very known for different fares from different countries. Normally it's Budapest where the tickets are cheap, but he said, wait, there is a promotion. If you start to travel in Sofia, the ticket is 3,990 instead of 12,000 just to start your travel in Sofia. So I booked a room with my intercontinental points. That doesn't cost me anything. I got upgraded to a junior suite on the top floor.
Nice.
I came here also using my points, and I also took all the stuff that I need. I just finished my taxes 2024. I, I'm so creative when I'm not. I'm so distracted at home. So I'm just combining this, not because I need to save money, but I was like, wait a minute, 12,000 versus 3,990. Um, let's be creative. So I created that, use the points to travel here, use the points to stay here, create some space where I get all this annoying stuff done. It's just more fun. Now we'll go out and have dinner here. I've never been to Sofia. And tomorrow I'll just have a really relaxing day until I start my travel, Sofia to Zurich, Zurich to Hong Kong. And the person I will sit next to has probably paid 12,000 and I've paid 3,900,
Yeah, I love
which
that.
makes me happy.
And one of
um,
the things too, yeah, go on. Sorry.
yeah, it is for now. Of course, I would like. What would it take to have so much money that I wouldn't care? But I think knowing the industry, I would still care. Not from the lack, but from the curiosity, and also um, I just so much love to travel that I'm really excited to go into explore Sofia tonight just for dinner.
Yeah, why not? I love it. I love it. And I want to add to that piece too is because some of the travel I do is very long. And by the time you get to where you're going, it's I don't care what you're traveling, if it's, first business or economy, it can be quite exhausting. And so one of the things I do is break it up even slightly. So and David and I were talking this morning, and I'm very similar to him. It's like I love being at home, and when I'm at home, you do get distracted with home stuff, like you're in your hometown, etc. So when you're at a hotel and you're somewhere different, it's whether you're going out to dinner or ordering room service, but you get to work on some projects that there seems just to be more space, and I like that too. So for me, right now, in a couple of hours, I'm heading to San Jose to the Marriott, and I'm with a friend and we'll go have a nice dinner at an Italian restaurant. And then tomorrow afternoon, I leave to go to Dallas. So I have quite a relaxing, luxurious time in San Jose rather than leaving El Lugar. And it's only 2 hours, but like having that 2 hours to the airport and then to Dallas and then to Brisbane and then home, it just cuts it up slightly. Like when I come back here in September, the difference of like the hours that I'd have to spend at the airport and also know your airports, like get to know your airports. Like Dallas has a really great hotel that's pretty much in the airport. You can order a room, which I always do, that is you get the view to view the tarmac. And
No,
so
I need to
yeah,
go there. Oh my
yes, you
god!
do. It's awesome. Yeah, yeah, because Dallas is one of the main airports from Australia. So next time I come over, I would have been going Sunshine Coast, which is very close to where I live, to Sydney, right? And then Sydney to Dallas on Qantas A380 first class. But the connecting flight to San Jose is quite a big difference. I know by the time I get there, I'm tired, and I said, "Yeah, I'll just spend the night in Dallas in the airport hotel. It's great, and you can watch the tarmac. I can sleep, I can get dinner, I can do whatever, and then the next day I'm more refreshed, and then I fly to San Jose and go straight to El Lugar." So look at your flights. Like you don't need to make it to be stressful for yourself.
Mhm.
It can be ease. So yeah. Oh, David, I'm very excited about your Art of Travel membership because I mean we've touched the surface. Like there is so
I
much information, and it's not just about planes. It's about hotels or different destinations or what to ask for, what to look for. Gosh, even I'm sure you're going to cover things like, uh, you're the one that taught me also about having my eSIM in my phone when I go to different places, so
yes.
it's not costing you a freaking fortune on your phone. Like there's so many things that can make your travel ease. Don't avoid travel, choose travel and ask questions so it's more ease for you and more joy. So, David, I want to say thank you so much for coming on here. Guys, don't forget it's drdavidkubes.com/travel. Again, we will have it in the show notes. I highly recommend it. I'm looking forward to joining your Telegram thread for all the hints, etc. Is there anything you would like to say to everyone before we finish?
Well, whenever you go on a journey, don't look at transporting yourself to get to a destination. What if the travel was a journey on its own, an adventure on its own, and that is not something to just get there?
Yeah.
That makes it, that takes it to a whole different level. Where I most of the time wish, oh my god, I wish I could travel longer.
Okay, be careful what you ask for. You're about to get on a flight tomorrow to Hong Kong. And actually, you're going my end of the world, and so am I. So yeah. So I thoroughly enjoy it. Like for me, it's like watching movies, sometimes working, sometimes sleeping a lot, sometimes it's like I just follow the energy. So yeah.
That's
So
what I do.
David, thank you so much. I will see you in Australia very soon.
Yes, we will.
And I adore you. And thank you, thank you, thank you. And thanks everybody for being here. And I will see you next time. Please follow us on Choice Change and Action Instagram as well. And slide into our DMs if you desire and let me know if there's any particular topics or questions that you have that we can address on this podcast, Choice, Change and Action, because that's what it's about. It's about choosing and it's about changing and taking some action. So, oh, David, I've got one more quick question for you.
Yes.
If you could choose anything over the next year for you, what is it that you're asking for to choose?
Wow, that's a big question.
I know.
Definitely, definitely. You know what? More chaos, less trying to figuring out, more letting, being led by consciousness rather than trying to figure it out. That's what that's my big demand.
I love it. I'm in. I'm in. Let's do it. All right.
Let's
Thank you
do
so
it.
much, David. I'll see you next time,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye.